So this is just a super quick video on how to do some basic animations in PowerPoint. First thing you want to do is have the whole presentation ready. So have all the different slides and all the different things on the slides you need. So all the shapes and texts and all the headings. Once you have that, you want to think about why do we animate? So animations are really useful because they let you direct the attention of the viewer. So as things are happening on the screen, people usually pay attention to that, right? But what you don't want to happen is you talking about these boxes here, and just because you have so many other things on the page, people just like start drifting away and looking at all of these other boxes, but you haven't even started talking about these ones here, right? So to actually prevent that from happening, you can hide all of these things here and only talk about whatever you want to talk about, and then have these appear as the time is right, basically. To do that, that's very, very simple. You just go into PowerPoint, you think about what you want to animate first and in which order. So in this case, you have 4 different headings. It might make sense to only show them these boxes at first. To do that, you want to animate all of the elements at the same time. Very simple. You hold Shift, you left click everything you want to animate together. Then you go into the animation section at the top and you pick which effect you want to use. So here you have different effects. I would recommend only using the most simple ones. So I only ever use appear. Sometimes I use fade, but even that's too complicated. If you use the very complicated shapes, it really detracts from the presentation. So I would recommend only using the most basic ones. So once you click appear, you can see it added the animations. And if you run it now, it's not there. And when you click next, it appears. Very straightforward. You can do this for the other ones as well. So for heading 2, maybe we just want to animate the first 2 boxes first, and then the last 2 boxes later. And what PowerPoint is doing is really nice. It's showing you the ordering of the presentations in the slide. So all the number 1s will appear at first, then all the number 2s, and then all the number 3s. It's really nice. You can do it for the other ones. Hold Shift, click, appear, Shift, select all of them, appear. And now you have your whole animation ready. So if you run it, you don't see them, and then they appear as you decided. It's quite useful. What you can see is that we did not animate the headings, which means that if we run the presentation, the headings are there already. So whatever you don't animate stays there at the beginning. If you wanted to change that, so for example here, you might not want to have the headings there at first. You want to add it to the animation. To do that, it's really simple. You pick the heading you want to animate. You again add the animation. But you can see it made it number 6 because that's the last thing we added. You want to change this to number 1, right? Because you want to animate it with all of the other boxes. To do that, it's really quite nice. So you go into animation pane. So in the top right, there's this animation pane. Once you click it, it appears. And you have this on the right, and it shows you the ordering of all the animations in this current slide. So you have number 1s, but you also have the number 6 that we just added. In this animation pane, you can select multiple things using Shift as well. So if you hold Shift, you can select multiple things. Quite nice. In this case, we want to select number 6. So you just hold left on number 6. And what you want to do is attach it to number 1. So to do that, you move it to underneath whatever you want to attach it to. So in this case, we move it underneath all the number 1s here. You can see this change the ordering. So as you move this around in the pane, it changes the ordering of things. So if you move it underneath number 1, it's going to become number 2. You can see this reflected in the slide as well. But in this case, we want to actually attach it to number 1. So this should be number 1, not number 2. So if you right click this in the pane, you can do start with previous. And what that's going to do is it's going to remove its number and it's going to attach it to whatever is above, in this case, number 1. So beautiful, this is number 1. You can do this for the other headings as well. So you can select this, do appear. It's going to be number 6. We want to make it number 2. So we move it underneath number 2. Right click this and do start with previous. Again, let's do it for the other ones. 6 underneath number 4. Right click, start with previous. And then the last one. It's actually quite straightforward, and even after you're finished with the animations, you can move things around if you want to. So if you wanted to change this, you can right click it again, remove it from start with previous, sorry. Oh, sorry, you want to do start on click because that's gonna make it, you have to click it, and that's gonna make it number 6 again. So you can right click these and decide when it starts. Does it start with the previous group or is it its own group when you do start on click? So quite straightforward. Now we have all the different groups, and if you run it, you can see nothing, and then you see the first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. And these ones are split because that's how we set it up. So if you go into the animation pane, you can see this is number 2s, and these are number 3. If you wanted to attach them to the previous one, again, you would shift select all of these, right click them, and do start with previous. So it's quite straightforward. Sometimes you can do more elaborate things if you want to. So sometimes you want to make things disappear or change them. To do that, you just select a different effect. So in this case, maybe you want to have all of this here, but you want to hide the middle box for some reason. You would select it, and you can see all of the effects at the top. If you go down, there's different effects. So the green ones mean appear. So this is something that doesn't appear there at the beginning, but once you click it, it appears. In this case, we might want to use disappear. So disappear means it's there, but once you click, it's no longer there. So I'll show you how it looks. Again, same thing with the animation pane. It adds the animations. You can edit them around if you want to. And if we run this slide, you can see everything is there, but once you click next, it's no longer there. You can do changes as well. So if in case you wanted to, let's say, change the color of something, you could click it. The yellow ones mean changes. So that's something that is there, but it changes the state. So in this case, you want to change the object color. You could click it, and you can see it changes color. So if we run this one disappears, and this one changes color. Could be quite useful as well if you want to, be fancy with the colors. In this case, it changed to orange. If you wanted to change the color, you go into the animation pane where you have all the different animations. If you right click this, you can do effect options, which gives you like more properties of that specific animation. So in this case, because this is a color change, it lets you define the color that it's gonna change to. For the disappearing ones and the other ones, you can do effect options, and it doesn't let you change the color. It lets you, set the sound or delays and stuff like that. Usually I don't use this at all because it's far too complex. You don't need this level of complexity, but in case you need it, it's there. So in this case, we change the color, not to orange, but to purple. And it changes to purple. So it's quite straightforward. So the very basic thing, just add the animations from the top to whatever you selected, and then use the animation pane to decide the more fine-tuned ordering of stuff if you need to. Sometimes you don't need to use the animation pane at all. So if you are really on point with how you're gonna order the animations and just click them in that order, you never need to use the animation pane. But sometimes you forget things or you wanna maybe split things again. In that case, you can use the animation pane to split them together. Okay, if you need any help, just let me know, get in touch, and I'm happy to provide more information.